It's TK Friday. Today in the joy of editing, we're diving into a full waterfall edit using the TK9 plugin for Photoshop. I'll show you step by step how I bring this image, which I've titled Nature's Flow, to life. Let's get started. Hello everyone and welcome to the Joy of Editing with Dave Kelly, and welcome to TK Friday. I hope you're all doing great out there. Today's image, which I've titled Nature's Flow, comes from yours truly, Dave Kelly. And don't forget, you can download this image and the PDF notes that goes along with it. You'll find Dropbox links in the description of this video. By the way, if you don't yet own the TK9 plugin for Photoshop, I'll have affiliate links in the description below this video. It'll take you over to Tony Kuiper's web store. You can pick up the TK9 plugin for Photoshop along with a bunch of great training videos by Sean Bagshaw. I highly recommend them. You'll also find the TK Magic Mixer there. It's a great plugin for doing black and white conversions and working with color. I highly recommend it. And also there's a bunch of different free panels you can pick up at the web store as well. So head on over there and save 15% off your entire purchase. All you got to do is use my promo code DK15. You'll save 15% off your entire purchase. And when you use that promo code, I make a small commission, and this helps me to keep these tutorials coming your way. So I thank you when you use that promo code. I really appreciate it. Let's jump right in. Now, as always, I start out here in Lightroom Classic, and I just do some basic adjustments here. As you can see, very minor adjustments. I'm using a linear profile for detail. Lightroom's AI denoise, just a slight amount of sharpening on here. For lens corrections, I always check on remove chromatic aberration, enable profile corrections. And for transform, I just did a small rotation just to make sure the image was nice and straight. And I just did a very minimal crop. And that was it. I have this weird little streak coming down here. I don't know what that was. And I have this little branch here. There's some foam in the water. I cleaned that stuff up in Photoshop. When you download your file, it'll be just like you see it when I open Photoshop. At this point, I just right click on the image, go to Edit In, and click on Edit in Photoshop. Here we are in Photoshop, ready to get started. Like I said, I did a little bit of cleanup on this image. When you download your file, it'll look just like this. As always, my first adjustment will be a balance and contrast adjustment. I just want to balance out the image a little bit and bring some contrast. I don't have a sky, so it'll just be very simple today. Come up to the multi-mask panel, click on the luminosity mask button, click on midtones 3. I only use this to protect shadows and highlights from clipping when I make my adjustment. Output it to a color grading tool, click this button right here. And then I'll start out by clicking on the midtone button, and I'll adjust my midtones. I want to open them up a bit. And what we'll do is take this brightness slider, we'll drag it to the right, and I think I'll stop right here at 29. And now let's darken up the shadows to bring some contrast into this image. I'll click this button. I want to darken the shadows. I don't want to go too far, but I want to go to right there. What do you think? I think that looks good. And now for the highlights, let me click on the highlight button. I want to open up the highlights a good bit to bring out that waterfall, and I'll take that up to right there, 47. I'm done with the color grading tool. I'll click the X to close it. Now for me in my workflow, this is a really good starting point because now after I've made that balance and contrast adjustment, I can really study the image and decide what it needs next. Now for this image, I think some mid-tone contrast would be appropriate. And that's easy to do with the TK9 plugin for Photoshop. Come up to the multi-mask panel, click this button right here. You're going to get a curves adjustment layer. And then click this button right here to go into Adjust Layer Mask. This is a special panel that lets you see the result of any luminosity mask you might use. Now I want to use a midtones mask. So I'll start out by clicking on midtones 1, and then I'll jump over to the curves adjustment, and I'm going to use a preset. And I just click the drop down and try some of these contrast presets. And I tried all of them. And I ended up using strong contrast, one I don't use too often. But right away, you can see what that midtones 1 mask looks like on there. And now let's check out midtones 2. This is the beauty of this panel. You can see the change as soon as you click a luminosity mask button. Here's 2. See, it's stronger, and here's 3. Too strong, so I'm going to go with 2. If it's still too strong, just lower the layer's opacity. I don't need the Adjust Layer Mask panel anymore. I'll click the X to close it. And now for some fun. What I want to do next is I'm looking at the water area here and the waterfall. What I want to do is bring out some nice contrast in the shadow areas, and the darker shadows will play nicely with these light areas in the water here and back at the falls. To do that, come to the multi-mask panel, click this button right here. We're going to find a luminosity mask that will help us. Right now we're in a lights one. Here's darks one, and I want to narrow this range down to target just the darker shadows. So here's darks 2, here's darks 3. See all these light areas in the water and back here at the falls? These are the areas I want to target, and I want to burn them down. So what we'll do is you can click on the left or right side of this burn tool. It doesn't matter. I'm clicking on the left side, and we have a 50% gray pixel layer in the soft light blend mode. We're painting through a selection. Now this is very important because the selection targets darks 3, but we can, make certain areas darker, certain areas lighter. This is where you take your artistic license and you decide which areas do you want dark. Do you want an area more darker or less darker? Let me show you what I mean. Now I'm going to use a 30% opacity brush. Right now I'm at 20%. Type your 3 key. That'll get you 30%. And then just start looking for areas. Now make sure you have a nice soft edge brush and just start to paint the darkening effect on. Now, when you lift your brush or unclick your mouse and click and paint again, it'll darken even further. So just look for all the different dark areas, right? Like this, back in the falls here, you can darken some of these areas up. And remember that Darks 3 mask is helping you. You're painting through a selection. What I'm going to do is finish this up and I'll get right back and show you the final result. But you see what I was doing there? That's how you do it. Let's see what I have so far before and after. I'll shut this off. Here's before and here's after. See what that's doing before and after. I'll finish it and I'll show you my final result. This is my final result. This is before burning. I'll turn this layer on. This is after. Again, before and after. Isn't that nice? I'm really happy with this. Now, I always recommend that you go a little overboard. Don't worry about it because you always have layer opacity. You can take it the whole way off and then build it up slowly and stop where you think it looks good. But for me, I like it up at 100%. Let's move on to the next step. But first, note we have a selection here. Don't forget to shut this off or it'll mess you up maybe on your next step in your edit. So come to the Converse CX panel and click this button to deselect. And now back to studying this image. Let that image talk to you. It will. And if I look at this image, the image is saying, hey, Dave, I'm lighter over here than I am over on this side. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to darken this side up a little bit, and I want to lighten this side up a little bit. We'll start with this side. We'll lighten it up a little bit because I don't want this image getting mad at me. Come up to the Converse CX panel, click on the Luminosity Mask button. Right now we're targeting light tones. I want to target dark tones, so I'll click on Darks 1. Here's Darks 2. And here's Darks 3. It's targeting these darker areas that I want to lighten up. I want to paint through a selection, so we need to output this. Let's click this button right here. I call this the hamburger button. And we want lightening, so we have these different brushes, soft light, screen, multiply, and overlay. Let's choose screen for lightening. I'll click this button. And now you see I have a selection. And right now my brush opacity is 100%. I want 30%. I'll type my 3 key. That's the shortcut for 30%. And all we want to do now is paint the lightening effect on. Remember, we're painting through a selection. So I'll start to paint over these areas like this. I'm lifting the brush or unclicking my mouse and painting again. This just lightens up these areas. And remember, the brush is targeting Darks 3 only. Some areas you can go over several times. Just lighten it the amount that you want. I'm going to go ahead and finish this up and I'll show you my final result. And now let me show you that final result. Right now you don't see it. Let me turn this layer on. Here it is. So here's before and here's after. See how that nicely lightens it up? Now, I think the saturation of this area here, the orange colors, I think they're too strong. So let's take care of that next before we move on to the other side and darken it. Go to your multi-mask panel and click this button right here to get a hue saturation adjustment layer. Now, here's something really cool we can do. We can use a clipping mask and clip this saturation adjustment just to this layer right here. And to do that, on the Converse CX panel, click on the paper clip button for clip. And then let's take the saturation. It's only going to target the area I painted on. I'll take the saturation and drag it the whole way off to the left. See how that really tones down that saturation? Let me shut it off. Here's before and here's after. Now let's see the overall before and after. I'm going to come to the screen brush layer and click its eyeball. There's before and there's after. So I'm happy with that. Now let's tackle the left side. I want to target these lighter rocks like this. So this time, instead of a luminosity mask, let's use a zone mask. We have all these different masks for different purposes, and a zone mask is great here. So let's click this button and let's click like right here and click OK. And you see how it's targeting that right there? Now we can adjust this slider right here. We could drag it to the left and see the change, drag it to the right. And I found that right here at 135 is perfect. Now, I want to use this slider to tighten this selection up. So I'll start to drag this into the left, and I think I'm going to take it to like right here. You see that? Really targets these light rocks. Beautiful. And now I want to output this, so I'm coming back and clicking on the hamburger menu button. This time I want to darken, so I'm going to use this multiply brush. I'm going to click it, and now you can see I have a selection. And again, I want to paint with a nice soft edge brush at 30%. And I'm looking for the light rocks. I'm just going to start painting over those like this up in here. I've lifted my brush and painted a few times here up in here. And I'm just looking for all of these rocks. I'm going to finish this off and I'll get back. Remember, every time you lift your brush and paint again, it'll get a little bit darker. Now let's check out the result. This is before and now this is after. Again, before and after. Now, I went a little bit too strong here, and I did it intentionally, knowing I could always pull back on my opacity. So now what I like to do is take the opacity for the layer, take it the whole way off, and then just drag it up slowly and stop where I think it looks the best. And I think it looks the best, for me anyway, right here. We're all different, so whatever you like, make it the way you want it to be. Now let me shut off this layer. Here's before and here's after. Pretty cool, right? Now the image balances out a lot better. Hey, if you're enjoying these tutorials, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. A lot of people don't subscribe, and it really helps when you do. It helps me to grow my channel, so please subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Now, don't forget to deselect your selection when you're done. Click this button on the combo or CX panel. Now, this particular day, it was super rainy and dreary, and there was some mistiness up in this area here, and I'd like to bring that out a little bit. This was also the day that I picked up a tick. I didn't even know I had it till I got home. I was taking a shower and I found it and I thought, oh my goodness, but I was able to get it out. Now to bring up the haze in here, I'll use a screen brush. It's a great brush to use whenever you want to bring out some haze. And I'm just going to paint this on. It's going to be really simple to do. All we need to do is come to the combo or CX panel, hold down the shift key, that's important, and click the screen button, because if you don't, you'll just change this multiply brush layer into a screen brush layer, and you don't want that. Now, it won't say screen brush, but it will change the blend mode to screen. So we're on the screen brush layer. It's a curves adjustment layer in the screen lightening blend mode. Now, with an opacity for this area right here, 30%. So with a nice soft edge brush, all I want to do is paint one pass. Like right here, like that. And now to the left of it, I want less. Type your 2 key. And then over here, just let's paint in some of that nice haze in this area, right up to about here. Now let me shut off this layer. Here's before and here's after, because we want to keep that nice hazy look back there, because that's what the scene looked like that day. And I think it really works for this image. Speak to me, image. What do you need next? Well, here's what I need, Dave. I would like my rocks to look a little more textured. Can you do that for me? Well, guess what? I can. Let me show you how we can do it. On the combo or CX panel, click this button right here, Cam Raw. That'll send you into the Cam Raw filter, turns the layer into a smart object so you can come back and readjust if needed. What I want to do is go to the effects section. If it isn't open for you, just click right here. It opens up. We want to add some texture, okay? So I'm going to drag this slider to the right. I'm going to go pretty far here. I'm going to go over to right there, 38%. And let's add some clarity. Let's drag this to the right over to right there, 16. Now I know the whole image looks horrible, but don't you worry about that, because we're going to take care of it. What we'll do next is click OK. That sends us back to Photoshop, and here we are. The other thing that happens when you click the camera button, it combines all your layers into a pixel layer. And as I said, it turns it into a smart object. So you could just double click camera raw filter, go back in and readjust if you need to. When I was making the initial edit, I went back into the camera raw filter several times just to hone in on the right settings. And now the image is saying, hey, Dave, you really overdid it here. But don't worry, image. What I'm going to do is come to the combo or CX panel, click this button right here. This puts a black hide all mask on it. And now let's get a white brush. If you don't have a white brush, click this button on the combo or CX panel. Make sure you're set to 100%. I'm at 20%. I'll type my 0 key. That is the shortcut for 100%. And then with that nice soft edge brush, just start painting on texture. Isn't that cool? On the rocks, anywhere you think you need it. And that soft edge brush will let everything just blend out nicely. So just get everything just like so. I'm going to finish this off and then get right back to you and show you my final result. And now let's see that final result. This is before and this is after. Again, before and after. But just like that, we've pulled out some beautiful texture. Most landscape images really benefit from a vignette. I'm going to use a basic vignette. Come up to your TK actions. If your TK actions aren't open, click a TK button on the combo or CX panel, click on Vignette. A Gaussian blur dialog comes up. I always just click OK. You can change the pixel radius here if you want to. I'll just click OK. I never do. Let me shut this off. Here's before, here's after. I don't want the dark areas on the edges getting too dark, so I can get some help with blend if. So click this button right here. You go into edit blend if, and you have like no darks 1, no darks 2. I tried them both and I settled on no darks 1. Watch the edges when I click this. See how they lighten up a little bit? So those darker darks aren't getting the effect. Click the X just to shut that panel down. Now let me shut off this layer. Here's before and here's after. I think I want it a little bit stronger, so this defaults at a 30% layer opacity. I'm going to take it up to 40. Now I'll shut it off. Here's before and here's after. But there's the vignette, and I really like it. This rock right here is really bugging me. My eye wants to always look at it. I want to tone it down. So to do that, click on the left or right side of a burn tool. It doesn't matter. I'm going to use the left side. With a brush at 20% opacity, I'm at 100. I'll take my 2 key, and all I want to do is just paint on here, lifting the brush and painting a couple times just to darken it down. Maybe right here, maybe right here. All just free-handed. No masks involved. And now let me shut off this layer. Here's before and here's after. Yeah, it's not drawing the eye too much. The last thing I want to do is get rid of this rock right here. It's really bugging me. And to do that, we're going to use Photoshop's remove tool. So come to the combo or CX panel, click this button right here, remove CAF for content aware fill. When you click it, it gives you a blank pixel layer and sets you up with Photoshop's remove tool. And then what we can do is I'll make my brush a little bit larger and I'm set for sample all layers. I'm going to draw a circle around this area right here like this. It'll fill in and it will remove it just like that. And I think that's okay. If you weren't happy with the results, you had some anomalies in here you didn't like, you can just remove those, but I think that's good. I'm going to click this button right here. By the way, if you click the plus button, it'll zoom in increments, or the minus button, which is really cool. And this button will always fit your image to screen, just in case you were wondering what these guys do. If you want to go into 100%, just click this button. And again, this button to fill screen. Well, there it is, everyone. Let's go ahead and see where we started from. On the combo or CX panel, click this button. We started out here, and now we end up here. And I'm really happy with the way this edit turned out. Before I go, I thought this image may look good in black and white. It might be something worth considering. A lot of times after you make a complete color edit, that's a good time to do a black and white conversion. So I went ahead and tried the magic mixer, and it's this layer right here. And I made some adjustments here, and I came up with this result. Here's the before and here's the after, and I think it looks pretty good in black and white. So don't forget, if you don't have that magic mixer, head on over to Tony Kepper's web store and pick it up. It's only $10 and it's well worth it. You can also use it for color images too. And use my promo code DK15 and save 15% off. I'll shut it off for now, but there's the color edit, and I'm really happy with the way this turned out. So download those PDF notes and download the image and give this edit a try. Well, there it is, everyone. Another TK Friday comes to a close. I hope you enjoyed today's full edit on this waterfall. If you enjoyed today's edit, please give it a like, share it with your friends, and if you're not yet a subscriber to my channel, please subscribe. Click the bell notification icon, click all so that you receive all notifications, and then every time I upload a new tutorial, you'll get notified about it. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me today on The Joy of Editing with yours truly, Dave Kelly, and I will see you all right here next time. But until then, happy editing.